How are you? I'm Chris, and I want to show you some records. Saturday is the 2015 Record Store Day, and I know everybody's really excited for the brand new, so why don't we just do that and then I'll talk. So here it is. We know that brand new Deja Entendu is being reissued in this, you can see the corner here, paper bag. Paper bag, yeah, it's like in a paper bag. I mean, truly a paper bag. So we don't actually know what the cover looks like. I mean, we know what the CD cover looks like. There'll be 1,500 of these, which will make it somewhat hard to find. But don't worry, because they're making like 5,000 without the bag next month. So in May, you'll be able to get it if you miss out on this one. Now, I don't have one of these that I can open up. And I know although everybody wants to see it, it's actually good because anytime they send me it, you know, if I open this up, that's one less for a fan. So let's save them for the fans, shall we? Now, there's also a cloth patch, and I can kind of feel it right here. It's either square or diamond shaped. There's a lyric book that the band designed themselves, which is right here. It's about the size of a TV guide. And maybe not quite as thick, about as thick as like a comic book. And there's also a sticker sheet, download card, of course, and you know, that's kind of becoming standard these days. So hey, this is very cool. While we're on the subject of download cards, you know what I think would be great? I think it's time, now that the MP3 download has become standard, I think it's time for us to move to the FLAC download. You know, because a lot of people who buy records buy them for the sound quality, and they would rather have a FLAC file on the go, or if they don't have the right kind of device, they can move to a WAV file. So hey, label folks, can we do this? I don't know. Maybe there's some reason why we can't, but I think we should do it. I think we should do it. And we know that so few people actually download the MP3, maybe they'd be more likely to download a FLAC and take the music with them, huh? So, now, before we go any further, I want to ask you a question. And the question I want to ask you is, what's your Frank piece? What's your Frank piece? Now, I know that unless you're Gene O'Brien, you don't maybe know what a Frank piece is, because Gene's the guy who made up the concept of the Frank piece. Now, the Frank piece. So Gene used to hang out with this guy, Frank Mazza, who a lot of people know because he worked in the music industry in the New York and New Jersey area, so he's well known. But he was like a music guru guy, and anytime that Gene would go out record shopping with Frank, which was kind of a thing you would do if you knew Frank, you'd come back with something Frank would suggest that would be something you'd never heard of but was awesome. So I think this is just so awesome. I think this is beautiful. So the way that Frank's no longer with us, so on Record Store Day, Gene told me that he always tries to buy some kind of record, buy a record that he wouldn't normally buy, and he does this in honor of Frank, and he calls it his Frank piece. So I think that you know, we've all had a Frank in our life. Some people have actually had this particular Frank in their life, from what I understand. I've talked to some people who actually used to work with him, and he was a guru to them. Even people who work in the music industry and see everything go by, he still knew more than they did. So we've all had a Frank in their life. My Franks would have been Tracy, Ben, Tim, Chris, Brett, Mike, and but they're all still around. So I think as we go through this, I think we should all kind of think about what sounds cool. That's the kind of thing you maybe don't buy that often or don't buy at all, and maybe we'll all stretch ourselves, but do it in honor of Frank, or the Frank-like person who contributed to your love of collecting records, or was a friend of yours. So let's keep an eye out for those Frank pieces. One I think might be my Frank piece this year, if we have any left. When people at Bull Moose are allowed to buy stuff, we have to wait till the end of the day that customers get first pick. But if we have any left, I'm probably thinking I might get an On You sound journey through time and space, which is like a science fiction-y dub record from like the early 80s, I think. I don't quite get it, and I wish I had one I could show you. Wait, I think I actually do. What the hell did I do with it? Well, you know what? It's around here somewhere. Well, maybe we'll get to it later, but it's like a, that might be my Frank piece. So let's jump into what's going on here. Now, this year's ambassador of Record Store Day is Dave Grohl, and we have a really cool Foo Fighters piece. It's a bunch of demos they recorded in the early '90s. Here it is, songs from the laundry room, which is, I don't know if that's the name of the recording studio or if they just converted the laundry room in their apartment or something like this. So this is really early, goes back to like, well, we'll see. But check out how it is. You see it looks like a cassette, and this of course looks like a cassette label, right? The cassette liner. And so here's the back of the record. Tells you what it is. Well, it's just a stack of tapes there. And it says Dave on it, but look at this. So here we have, this actually looks like a big version of the card that would have been in cassette, and we have the information on what's actually on the record right there. Now I've been noticing, I'm sure you all have, a lot more soundtracks coming out. And in a sense, well, I want to show you this one soundtrack first. It's the Orange is the New Black soundtrack. And naturally, Red Sara Band has chosen to make this on orange vinyl. As you can see, it's actually, I don't know if you can quite tell, but it's translucent and kind of a little spidery there. This one has little kind of threads and sort of like threads of a darker orange coming through. It's sort of like a, almost like a pumpkin, you know, like the goop inside the pumpkin when you, yeah. So what Orange is the New Black makes me think of is, here's the back cover by the way, but you know what this makes me think of is the fact that what's the new black is what? It's colored vinyl and picture discs. We have so many of those now. So let's look at some of those first, because they're always fun to look at. Alright, so we have from Father John Misty. We have, look, here we are. It's heart-shaped, and it is the acoustic version of I Love You, Honey Bear, and a brand new song. Brand new song. It's called I've Never Been a Woman. So we got a new song from Father John Misty, which is really great if you think about it. Now, sometimes people end up doing two of the same things. So we actually have, and I hope this becomes a trend, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you out in record label land, maybe we can make this a trend and do our patriotic duty and finish this up. Because we have an Alabama-shaped record and an Ohio-shaped record. So as far as I think we need to have 48 more of these over the next few years. I want to see every state get their own record. Now, Alabama, that's was represented by St. Paul and the Broken Bones. And, ooh, side B, which I'm looking at, is a cover of Moon Age Daydream, Bowie. And we got 21 Pilots doing the Ohio-shaped one. Very cool. Wait, and we'll have a Bowie picture disc later when I go through the actual 7 inches. Now we have a very timely shaped disc. J Dilla with Fuck the Police. Still, that's still going to resonate with some people. And the back is the B-side is the instrumental version of that. We have 10-inch Gregg Allman. Here's the back. And these are live versions of songs that, you know, big Allman Brothers songs, Whip and Post, you know, Melissa, stuff like that. With some pretty cool guest stars. Manic Street Preachers, here we are. They have a nice picture disc. Certainly striking front. George Ezra. I kind of like the back better, but check this out. There we are. Something there's a little I just like this. There's a little more energy on that. I like that. Now Mastodon. This is. I don't even think this is their first picture disc. I think we had one from them once before. So, but of course, any band like this tends to have really good artwork that translates well to a picture disc, and they got some non-album tracks on there as well. Okay, here's another one. Here's something a lot of people are very curious about. Run the Jewels. So this is like a 12-inch It's only 4 songs. Sorry about the glare. Here we are. I'll just hold it up for a little while longer. There we go. Yeah, there we are. And the back just has the track listing. And before you ask, no, we still don't know when Run the Jewels 2 will be back on vinyl. Hopefully this year. Walking Dead soundtrack picture disc. Here we are. This is just it's more like a 12-inch, but you know, great artwork, especially here. You know, I mean, that's the classic image there. Another soundtracky picture disc. We got the Lego Movie picture disc. There you go. And I'm not going to open this up for you. Here's just the regular back cover. So what do they say? You know, everything is awesome. And the last picture disc, which also is a soundtrack, is I'm Here. Look at that. It's a I've never seen the movie, but just from that image right there, I definitely want to check it out. You know, what I want to talk about now is that record stores always have awesome events all year long. So one, I think you should definitely check with your local stores to see what they have going on. Some stores, you know, change their opening hours, like Bull Moose, for example. We're going to be open in an hour earlier, and so make sure you check that out. If getting there early for the record is important to you, check your store's opening times. But also check, because what a lot of stores do is they do the like limited edition records in the morning, and then in the afternoon there's cool stuff. Now I think we got some neat stuff lined up at Bull Moose. You can check our website, but I think chances are your local store has some cool stuff too. And remember, a lot of this is like about enjoying the community around music, and you know, the way you're going to do that is go to the store when there's something cool going on. So there are some releases this year that commemorate that exactly. There are 3, for example. So here we have Tegan and Sara live at Zia Records. You know, that's kind of part of the record store mission, right? Is to you know, give a place for an informal concert by an artist and let them meet their fans and let their fans get to know them a little bit. Here's the back. And while we're on the subject of Zia, I just want to point out that it wouldn't qualify as an official record store day release because it's only available locally. But Zia is doing yet another local band charity compilation. So if you're in Vegas or Phoenix or Tucson, and you know, make sure you pick that up. I seem to remember they're usually really very inexpensively priced, and that's a great Frank piece because you're supporting the local music scene, and maybe you'll find some bands you want to go see and you can support even more. And I just want to suggest that to you. In fact, another thing that's great about, I think, about music stores is that you know, any good music store, I think, is gonna carry a lot of music by local artists, and that's just part of what we do, and it's, you know, part of, you know, it just comes with being part of the community. And I just want to mention that just because I think they're kind of cool, and you might at Bull Moose there's a band called Tall Horse, and they are releasing a single on not record, not CD, not well, you know, we always have some cassettes on Record City, none of those things. No, what is Tall Horse releasing it on? They are releasing on VHS. The single on VHS, folks. That's right, from Tall Horse. And you can get it on Record Store Day if you're around here. Also, another local release is from a guy named Spencer Albee. He's actually the top-selling main artist in our history. We have sold more Spencer Albee than we have of anybody else. Ray LaMontagne, Howie Day, any of those folks. He's sold more. So let's move on to Nashville. At Grimeys, we have a live at Grimeys piece. This is by Justin Townes Earle. Look at that. It says Grimeys on the cover, and his nice signature there. There we go. And this is a good value. This is actually, you get 8 songs on this. This is really good. A lot of the live acts are shorter. This is almost a full album worth of music. Oh, hey, you want to see the back? Here's the back. I shouldn't be the only one that gets to see the back. There you are. Another awesome thing you can do in a record store is have a podcast, and that's what they do at High Fidelity Records in LA. And so check this out. This is the second one. There was one last year, you may remember, that had some great stuff on it. And I'm going to pull it out because look, you got, there you go, putting out records. Really nice. Lots of liner notes explaining what the whole thing is. Thanking everybody multiple times. It's black vinyl. And so who's on here? Well, first of all, you get there's Pugwash, who you should know about. Pugwash would make an excellent Frank piece if you're not familiar with them. They're a great band. You got Sean and Sara Watkins are on here. The Hayden triplets, Jill Sobule, John Doe, Ben Montench, Better Than Ezra, Glenn Phillips, and the engineer and producer Glyn Johns. So that's an exciting one. So lots of fun you could have at a record store. That's right. And one thing that people at record stores do is we always think, yeah, we're better at A&R than actual A&R people. So you know what we did, and we got some help obviously from ORG Music, and put together a bunch of tracks. We actually all voted on this. Somehow Carrie managed to organize this voting. Carrie from Record Store Day did this, and this is what came of it. So it's a Sun Records compilation of a bunch of tracks, mostly pretty deep tracks here. I mean, they're artists you know, but they might not be the ones that the songs you would necessarily know. Yeah, it's really cool. We're all really proud of this. Okay, I'm just going to blast through a bunch of records in alphabetical order now. These are all 12 inches or LPs. First one is The Autumn Defense, and their names aren't anywhere on the package, but you might recognize two members of Wilco. At the Gates, with a little orange dot there, that's a sticker that's on the outside, and that might mean something. Hard to say. Courtney Barnett just released her album a couple weeks ago. It's Sometimes I Sit and Think, or sometimes I just sit, and I guess we've all been there. So this is a big deal. Obviously, people be psyched for this, and the reason that if you have that album, the reason you'd want this is, one, she drew. I mean, you know, just because it's a nice thing to have, she drew the cover and everything. But also, the B side of this 12-inch is a cover of a John Cale song that's not on the main album. Now, this is a really pretty record. It's a split 12-inch by the Baseball Project and the -5. And what's kind of funny is they're actually the same band, except different bass players in each band. In fact, actually, just a different bass player last name. They're both Mikes. Mike Mills is in one and Mike Giblin is in the other. So I want to show you the actual record, though, because it's like really very pretty. So it's a translucent. It's actually translucent, and there's this sort of cloudy pink stuff. I don't know how they did this, but it's pretty cool. Now, just one bit of warning. This reminds me now. Some of this pink stuff, actually, there's like pink grit in this, and it was stuck to it. So this is why, folks, this is why we clean our records every time we play them. Even the first time you get them. Even the first time you get a record, a brand new record, even if it's, you know, not a used record, but like a, you know, a shrink wrap, you gotta clean it. My brush actually turned pink. So did you hear that kind of scrunchy thing there as that went in? So just be careful. Just be careful with your colored vinyl. And you know what's crazy is that isn't even the only time. That happened to me twice today when I was checking this stuff out, getting ready. So there's something going on there. So clean your records, folks. Clean your records. Camilla's Little Secret, Tantalizing. This is a pretty cool thing. It's got you can see it's got like a slightly different. It's the actual shrink wrap, not the over wrap that people usually use. That's a reissue. Candlemass live, double album, gatefold, Clutch, another live album. Sorry, another. It's actually from Beale Street to Oblivion, and I misspoke. It's actually a whole bunch of different stuff, and another gatefold double album. The Dandy Warhols, kind of a good band to have in your collection. You got to have those. This is actually, this is, you see it's hand numbered on the back. Double album, pretty important in the development of modern rock. Kind of one you ought to have, and you know, that's from like 1995 or so. So that's one of those records that has never been issued on vinyl. So awesome. Hello, that's great. Death and Vanilla. Let me show you this thing here. This is like a transparent orange vinyl, but it's more of a goldy kind of orange. Maybe you'd call that gold, but just a little bit orange. There's so many different variations on colors now, and you know, the download card, of course, on a postcard. The Decemberists almost always have something on Record Store Day. This time we have a triple LP version of Picaresque, and there's like 5 songs on here that aren't on the CD. So yeah, 5 tracks. So that's kind of important. Now, Dresden Dolls, and as you can imagine, it's a fantastic package. So let's go through it in detail. First of all, it's it opens like a book. So here we are. You get the whole kind of story and everything, and then look, you just turn the page, and now you get, there we are. Here's the back cover. Now let's look at the. Of course, we got to look at what's inside, right? First of all, we have a really great poster. There you go. It's even better if it's right side up. See, look at that. What, you know? Okay. And the records are all different colors. So we have a marbly gray. We have a marbly gray. We have, oh, by the way, this is the Virginia monologues. Did I mention that? We have, you know, and of course you get cool icons. You get this in different colors on the ones. We have a blue, a dark blue, but you can see their little smears of white in there. And the other one's red, if I remember correctly. Yes, it is. And this has like little black spots or something in there. So really very attractive, nice looking records. So I'm going to do the apology part now. This is the part where I apologize for not showing some things. And the you know, the deal is, I'm ship filming this the weekend before Record Store Day, and some of the stuff just hasn't shown up yet. So, but I want to just bring a few things to your attention. I want to talk about, you know, so there's a Mark Kozelek piece. There are 3 Flaming Lips records. There's a Jurassic 5 box set where it's in wood. I wish I could have shown this to you because it's actually wooden, and they've burned the J5 logo into the outside of the box. Should look pretty cool. They're Mighty Mighty Boss Tones record, Dead Milkmen, Joan Rivers CD, Mumford & Sons 7-inch with new songs from the album that'll be out soon. There's a White Stripes reissue, big deal, and an Afro pop group called Fool's Gold, and that's on orange vinyl from what I understand. And this is one of those things where it's their new album, but they're choosing to debut it on Record Store Day, which is pretty awesome. And there's also a Metallica cassette, with demos from very early in their career, never been issued before. So it's significant, really important historical material here, kind of a must-have if you're any sort of fan. Thing is, it's coming out on cassette. So then what's great is the way that it's printed is it's supposed to look like, you know, a tape, like it was the demo tape demo cassette they were bringing around, or it was in somebody's car or whatever. You know, it has that kind of like that Guardians of the Galaxy tape we had before, or what the Foo Fighters record I showed you earlier was trying to do, but expanding it out to the 10-inch size. So there's that. Now, just so you know, they're making 10,000 of these tapes, which I think is awesome because you know, it's so important. The material's so important, but also if you have no way to play it, don't sweat it too much because it will be out on vinyl and CD later on. Not Record Store Day, just regular wherever you like to buy stuff. You got to get that. Now, I've observed some trends in what's being released both in general and on record store days. Let's talk about those just for a second. We know that soundtracks are being bigger and bigger, so there's a whole bunch of soundtracks we got here for record store day. I'll show you those in a second. For some reason, this record store day we had a flood of what's a good kind of flood? Like a They Might Be Giants kind of flood, like the kind of flood you want of psychedelic records, reissues of just wild stuff from the late '60s. We'll go through those. It's like about that big. It's right back there. But first, I want to talk about something that I think we still have a ways to go, but I think we're doing better. We're really trying to get more hip hop for Record Store Day, and even issued on vinyl at all. I think it's really important. Fortunately, one of the coolest pieces we have in terms of packaging is maybe it's the best packaging we have this year. Yeah, I think it actually is. I can't think of a better package than this. Well, you'll be the judge at the end. So let's take a look at this. It's a KMD, which was MF Doom was in KMD. Have this thing. It's a board book actually with a 7-inch and 2 CDs. So it comes in this slip cover, and you have to watch it because let me show you the back. Because the back, that's the 7-inch, and there's no protection. You don't want to like grab it here. Make sure you grab the up in the corners so you don't touch the playing surface of your record. Not a good thing to do. The oils, even if your hand's clean, there's still oils that will you don't want on the record, because that will then that dust will stick to the oil, as we know from watching CSI and all that stuff, and then that's gonna just gunk everything. You don't want that. So let's look at this. Being positive for a second. So it's just awesome. Now let me show you. So open it up first. You have CD1, which is the main album and the track list. Then you get kind of like the bonus, a whole ton of bonus tracks, right? A whole disc worth. And now we have this. So pop-up. And if you weren't sure what the name of the album was, now you are. You couldn't tell here because they left out some of the letters. Now you know. And here we have the little tribute, and there we go. There's a slot in the top, and that's where the 7-inch slides out that slot. Some classic hip hop. The first rap I ever heard, first rap probably a lot of people heard, was Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang. So what they got here is they've taken the best of, which I thought was a single record before. It's a double LP now, or at least it wasn't gatefold before. Now it's gatefold. This is weird because it's not shrink wrapped. It actually came open, so one of my coworkers slipped it in this bag. But just so you know, these aren't shrink wrapped. And what's a gatefold? There's like a story, the history of the band and stuff is in there. I kind of gave you some of the, if you're, if you weren't, like I was a little kid when Rapper's Delight came out, and if you weren't around then, like it's a thing, in the, there's a lot of humor in early hip hop. From Rapper's Delight was funny, even up to like Kumo D. There was a lot of real sense of humor in that. So, but these guys, not on the back cover. There's not they're looking pretty serious there. And my favorite thing about this is they're looking, like I said, they're looking pretty serious, maybe a little bit trying to intimidate you, and then they got the Avion bottle down there. So around the time that Rick Ross released Trilla, he had these singles. Maybach was a series of singles, and he had people on there like Jay-Z and T.I., Jadakiss, Erykah Badu, Neo, T-Pain, Lil Wayne, and Kanye West. So when are you going to find a record with all of that much talent on it? I'm not sure. Probably never. Maybe Apple Jam. So anyway, this is a pretty key piece. Now, speaking of something that's I think is awesome, and I'm really grateful about this, is that speaking of 80s hip hop, MC Lyte is back. with a new album. That's really, really good. I was lucky enough to get to listen to this one. It's really, really, she's got a new album, and it's going to be originally available on Record Store Day. I don't know if there's an official release date for this, but you know, this is the kind of thing that we're just so I mean, it's amazing that, you know, she's going to release this thing on Record Store Day in advance of whatever other setup that she still has to do for this. It's great. It's incredible. Let me show you the record, because it's pretty cool yellow. You know, it's kind of like, it's a little bit of a different color gold than some of the other ones we've seen. There must be something where there's like ways they can fine tune it. Mastered by Kevin Gray too. So for those of you who are way into sound quality, that's going to be really interesting, because you know, you do want that big bass in hip hop. But like I said, I listened to this this morning, and it's really, really good. This might make a good Frank piece too, because you know, how often can you get you know, women from her generation who like came up in the 80s, there's not many of them still releasing music now, you know, like, you know, Joan Jett, but, you know, Cyndi Lauper, no, that was a reissue. So there's not a whole lot going on, and not in hip-hop, so, you know, this would be, this is the kind of thing that doesn't come around very often, so for an artist of her stature to come back with something so great, definitely check it out. Now some newer people in hip-hop, Idea and Abilities. This is being reissued, but it's a double picture disc. It feels kind of, it's supposed to be a double picture disc. It feels kind of skinny to me to have two in it, but I'm sure that's what it is based on the price. It's got to be a double. So 4 different images, and you can quite see this, but it's actually die cut right here. So this will be a fun one to have, because when you slide that out, you'll be able to see right back behind it. That's all that's cut out. Very cool. Let's do those soundtracks, huh? I just got them right here. Okay. Now, so let's start with this, right? So the soundtrack to Fury. This might be in the P section, because Stephen Price is the composer. It might be there, but it's the soundtrack to the movie Fury. And if you don't know, it's like a World War II thing. So what Varese Sarabande did is they made this 10-inch, and it's supposed to look like the V-disc. These were the discs they would ship around, you know, for radio stations. You can see, I'm going to show you that it's kind of supposed to look, I'll just slide the plastic down there, there you go. You can see it's supposed to look beat up. Now, you've probably seen those if you've seen how 78s were you know, in that sort of, it's like, it looks like butcher paper here, but if you haven't seen it before, it's really thin and wrinkles up really easily. This one's in pretty good shape, actually. Almost like that paper bag kind of look. That's pretty cool. Now, probably not strictly a soundtrack, but the for those of you who remember the 80s, the wrestling album they released too. It was kind of like a little bit after the Super Bowl Shuffle, which was a thing. There was the wrestling album, and then there was also a thing called Pile Driver 2, which was the wrestling album too. The first one, well, anyway, it's just wacky. It's just wacky stuff. And, you know, we got clear red vinyl for the wrestling album. And I want to show you what they did, because, you know, they were reissued originally like a year apart, but now they put them in like a gatefold. So this was like, I think this is probably what the inside of the wrestling album looked like. Here is the back. Yep. And, you know, and what they did for the wrestling album too, they just added it in the back, and you can see there's the cover with Hulk Hogan with those you know, he would make his eyes pop out, and yeah, like a gold vinyl again, and here's the back side. So this is one of those things where, anyway, lots of fun. The Family Way is a movie that Paul McCartney kind of wrote the music for. He wrote the score for it in the you know, like 1966 or so. And so here we go. This is on 180 gram vinyl. So this probably hasn't been available on vinyl since the 60s, I imagine. I know it's been on CD at least once before, and let's see, black vinyl here. But you know, the thing, a lot of this is another Varese Sarabande one, and a lot of their ones are kind of coming in these nice anti-static sleeves. It seems like a lot of people who, for the black vinyl, a lot of labels went with the more expensive sleeve this year, which I think is really great. So a nice Beatles collectible here, and if you are into the Beatles, you might want to just keep an eye on social media this week. Might be some more interesting things going on. We got the Whiplash soundtrack, and you know, nice stills from the movie here. Intensity on this side, and black vinyl. Black vinyl. That's another Varese Sarabande one. We got Hedwig and the Angry Inch. And I think this is actually one of those windowed titles, or first release we call them, so my guess is it'll be coming back out at some point. But I want to show you, I just want to show you the color of the vinyl, because I think it's a really nice pink. It's a really nice pink, more like a bubblegummy pink than the sort of, what would you call that, fuchsia? 7-inch. This is actually, you know, remember the movie The Virgin Suicides? Air did the music for that, and it's pretty cool stuff. And this is colored again, another one of those, slightly different color orange, maybe just because it's a little thinner. Now, this is one a lot of people wanted to see. So hey, thanks for sitting this time. It's the Polaris, which actually is like members of Miracle Legion. This was like a one-off thing. They did the soundtrack for Pete and Pete. There it is, and I'm going to show you the back. There you go. This is something a lot of people were asking about. Okay, so Saturday Night Fever, but this time we have a 12-inch of the extended dance mixes, right? Extended versions of these of 4 songs from the movie Staying Alive, Night Fever, More Than a Woman, and You Should Be Dancing. So there we go, and I think it's black vinyl, but it is kind of cool. If you look at that, I like the I just like the labels there. It's really neat. We also have some stuff from Better Call Saul from that show, yeah. So Citizen Dick, right? A fake band. You know, it's like people from, you know, grunge stars. This reminds me of like that, you know, In Spiral Carpets cover, but this was from a movie too. So it's supposed to just kind of remind you of like, so it's like almost a parody really of what a grunge band was. Here's another. What the hell is that doing there? Yep. So we got a Blue Oyster Cult, did the soundtrack to Bad Channels, and if you're sort of in that zone, just so you know, there's 3 soundtracks that Brian May from Queen did. So keep an eye out for those. Those might be more like. A lot of these soundtracks are more like UK pieces where there'll be a small number that came over to the US, so you know, you'd be psyched over there. You know, the Darjeeling Limited soundtrack. Here we go. This is a gatefold cover. By the way, for those of you who don't know, gatefold, that's just when it opens up like this. I guess like a gate. Okay, so it's time, like I said, to look at the Psych stuff, and this is honestly, from my personal listening experience, often my favorite part of a record store day, just because, well, because I think this stuff's pretty cool myself. So let's jump in. But let me show you. Like I said, that is what you get to choose from, and this. Not bad. So let's jump. Let's go, right? So I want to show you this Zombies record. R.I.P. is the name of it. You know, rest in peace. And here's the thing. This is kind of like the Lost Zombies album. This is what they would have released, but, you know, would have been their last album, but it didn't happen. But what's awesome is they have found like all the notes and stuff of what songs would have been on it. So a lot of historical stuff went on here, and Varese Sarabande did issue this on CD last year, but this is the record, of course. A lot of really good stuff on here. It's awesome, and I'm gonna try to, let's see if you can see that. The cover is really cool. Can you kind of see their faces sort of ghostly coming out of there? Just barely. You see how it's clear? Maybe like that. Sorry about all the glare. It's sunny right now. So yeah, but I think that's a pretty awesome cover, and it's a great album. Next thing was actually only available in the UK and was almost a Frank piece for me when I was, I don't know, like around 20 or something. I pulled this record out of the 3 for $1 bin somewhere, and it's The Geese and the Ghost by Anthony Phillips. This is not the new UK version. It's a UK only record store day piece, and it's probably one I would be really psyched to have personally. Now, Anthony Phillips was the original guitar player in Genesis, and this is almost like Mike Rutherford is on most of this from Genesis, and Phil Collins sings a couple songs. So you could see it as like a really good Genesis side project, but it's kind of like mellow and quiet. In the closest thing, if you're a Genesis fan, the closest thing to this sound would be like the song More Fool Me, which was Phil's first vocal from Selling England by the Pound. But if you live in the US and don't have access to this, because it doesn't seem to be one of the ones that's going to be brought over here, even in any kind of small quantity, it was just reissued in this really cool box set came out here, which does have the regular album, like a remastered version of it. No, it's got the remaster. There's a whole disc of bonus tracks, which I think were maybe all the same ones from the last time this was reissued. But the reason this is awesome is DVD audio with it in surround sound. And I want to digress for a second just to point out to people who are collectors of stuff, like if you have the ability, maybe you just have a home theater system and you're not listening to, you haven't bought stuff for your surround sound system yet, you should try it, because it is such a great way to listen to music. And one of the things that the trends that I noticed, we've sort of been noticing that started last year, is that there are a lot of people who buy this stuff, and what we've seen is if there's a reissue or even a new album like Tom Petty's last album or Pink Floyd's last album, where the choice is between vinyl and Blu-ray, more people will actually pick the Blu-ray or the DVD audio to get the surround sound experience. So just so you know, folks, it's an awesome thing, and people as diverse as, you know, Beyonce released, if you get the CD Blu-ray version, that's in surround sound, sounds great. Beck has an album that sounds fantastic in surround sound. Sea Change is just amazing. Pink Floyd's done a couple. Pretty much every progressive rock band from Gentle Giant on up has done some nice sounding 5.1. Like I said, Tom Petty. It's a happening thing, folks. And if you haven't tried it, if you have the ability to listen to it, do it. You know, I think the regular version of Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd that we just have in the bin, that's a SACD hybrid. So if you have a friend who has like a Sony Blu-ray player that might play it, just take it over to their house and check it out. You'll be blown away when the bells and stuff are going off at the beginning of time. It is incredible. It is so awesome. So moving on, like I said, Prog stuff. Prog people know this band tomorrow because Steve Howe from Yes was in it before he was in Yes, and this is another one. Let me show you the record is really pretty. I just want to show this to you. Check that out, and you see the like old style Parlophone label. This is another one though that had like pink grit. My record brush got all pink when I cleaned this, so make sure there's just something about whatever plant is doing this kind of thing. I would give them a warning, because you know, not so good. So clean your records. You should clean your records every time though, not just because once in a while you get this kind of thing. It could happen anytime. So just take it easy there. And I want to show the nice thing that Parlophone did. You can see, hopefully you can see. Yeah. Anyway, it's got this. It's called a flip back, where all the sides, the front folds over and glues onto the back. There are a bunch of really cool Parlophone issues for Record Store Day this year, and they all have that sort of feature, which I think is great. And and this one was produced by. There's also, you know, Parlophone, the Beatles label. There's also, almost every one of them has a Beatles cover on it. Maybe that's just part of what you have to do if you were recording a record on Parlophone in the late 60s, I don't know. And this one actually produced by Jeff Emmerich, who was a Beatles engineer. Lord Sitar, this was one that, like, they kind of put it out when this came out, like, ooh, maybe it's George Harrison. Who is it? Who is Lord Sitar? Well, you listen to it, and, you know, it's like, it's basically Herb Alpert with the sitar you know, playing the melody. But you get a couple Beatles covers on this one too. It's a pretty fun record. You should have it. This one I never heard of till this guy Tim tipped me off to. It's called Rainbow Folly, and this is like kind of way out there. This is weird. This is weird, like awesome weird. You know, like you'll know if this is right for you. Kind of like whimsical. Weird and whimsical, really. You know, you could totally see them playing at like the UFO Club or something like that. And let me show you the back too, just to give you an idea. This kind of reminds me of like a Gong album cover. This one's mono. Actually, this one's mono, as is Tomorrow. Okay, The Gods, their album Genesis. This is another one. Now, The Gods, a lot of people know The Gods because this album. Two people went on. One went on to Uriah Heep, another went on to Jethro Tull, and then on a different lineup of the Gods, Greg Lake was in the band briefly too, but he's not on this one. And let's see, no Beatles covers on here, and this is you know, this is good stuff too. And probably I don't remember the S. See, look at this. This is another really, oh yeah. See, another really nice looking record. I think all the Parlophone ones look really nice. Look really pretty psychedelic and cool this year. There's a Hawkwind record that they have. This is in gatefold cover. I think it's their first album. Lemmy's not on it yet. And there's a nice little thing on the back there about how they all met. I just dig freaking about on saxophones. If I could play guitar, I'd dig that too. That's what Nick Turner, who said. Oh, Nick Turner, N-I-C-K, before he dropped the C. And he's bummed around quite a bit on and off in the music scene, and now with Hawkwind, things are even better. So maybe you'll be better with a little Hawkwind. So after Stephen Stills and Neil Young left Buffalo Springfield, they kind of thought the band went on. You know, they were called like New Buffalo Springfield, and they're kind of like, yeah, it's a little too close, guys. Could you change the name? So somebody like picked up a newspaper and said, well, we could be called Blue Mountain Eagle. And look at this beautiful cover. I love this. And you know, it's like a little extra glossy thing to it. It's got like an extra layer of plastic over it to make it just shine. It's a lovely, beautiful thing. You can see kind of that sort of California kind of crunchy 1970-ish type of deal going on there. And this is, you know, country rock stuff. Totally good stuff. You know, it's I think you dig it. If you think you would like it, you will. We have, for the first time since its original issue, we have Strange Days by the Doors. You know, obviously the vinyl's been reissued recently, but not in mono. This is the first reappearance of the mono mix since back then. And here's another thing that we see on a lot of these reissues is the labels are choosing the right label copy to match up with what it was like then. Obviously Elektra doesn't use that anymore. Here, let me show you this. The Blue Mountain Eagle has the old Atco one. I think that's pretty great. Now, Todd Rundgren, there's this new Todd Rundgren thing. This is actually completely getting washed out, sorry, but it's a 12-inch. Jethro Tull is back now live at Carnegie Hall 1970. This package came out pretty crazy. You can get a sense of what a nutty show their thing was. There's Ian Anderson right there. Nice back cover. And this is stuff, if you remember the when Stand Up, that's the one with the pop-up thing in the middle, like the K&D book. When that was reissued, I don't know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there was it was like a 3-disc set, and there was this live stuff was on there, but that's no longer available. So if you didn't get it before, or you just prefer to have the vinyl, this is the way to go. And it's a good concert. There's a nice, really long version of My God, you know, but you know, this was a good period for them. This is cool stuff. And the last up, another live album, Sly and the Family Stone, live at the Fillmore East. I don't think this has been available on CD at all. I think this is brand new to Record Store Day. Got some liner notes there, brief ones. They're actually contemporary liner notes, but they look like the back of your typical Epic, you know, record. You've got that kind of Epic, the old style Epic thing, and this is on red vinyl, but it's not transparent. It's just a nice, rich, deep red. And this will definitely get you going. This is good stuff. Look, you want to see some of the 7-inches that are kind of in this same zone? Yeah, so I mentioned Hawkwind before. There is a Hawkwind 7-inch back on the streets. Here's the back. I think this is smaller quantities, but it's also almost as much as a record, so, you know, make your own decision. There's 2 Sundays, 2 Jeff Beck. Actually, I think there might be 3, but 2 or 3 possibly. Jeff Beck 7-inches from Sundays. Always, you can always trust them to do a good job. There's a Hendrix one. This is Purple Haze and Freedom, and this is stuff that's going to be on one of the upcoming live release of his performance at the Atlanta Pop Festival. And I don't know about you, but whenever I hear Hendrix live, you know, it's like they could keep putting those live Hendrix albums out. It seems like we get 1 or 2 a year. I'd take 4 a year because they always are so awesome. And I just, you know, I wish that more bands were as generous with their unreleased material as the Hendrix estate has been. That's really great. Procol Harum 7-inch. Actually, hold on. This is an EP. Hold on. Yep, because there's 4 songs. That's an EP. And there's a Small Faces 7-inch. And we have a Pretty Things 7-inch. Sorry about that. We have the wrong stickers on them, it looks like. Lots of great stuff. Now, I want to go on. Now it's time. It's time to do the Golden Gear Award. Now, just to remind you what the Golden Gear Award is, I give this out every year. The Golden Gear originally was this gear-shaped 7-inch by Fun, who had a gigantic hit with that song you may remember, The Ghost That You Are to Me. But they made this gear, and I thought, wow, you know, like this, in a lot of ways, this shows you everything that is awesome about Record Store Day. Just how, you know, getting creative, having some fun with something. So let's remember them. And this year, I was really close to, you know, I was thinking the Metallica record, the Metallica cassette was almost won it because it was so important historically, just crucial material that needs to be heard. And I also thought it would be funny that, you know, it would be a cassette because, you know, Record Store Day, really, it's not about records. It just accidentally became about records. You know, we were just trying to make something cool to thank our customers. You know, it's really what the main thing was. More of a customer appreciation event. And then the records and the giveaways and stuff. Oh, I have a couple of the giveaways I'll show you later. But to get back to what I think, and this is something that there was a similar release last year that I thought was awesome, and I think it kind of slipped under a lot of people's attention. So I want to just tell you that if you are a lover of the record, love vinyl, the medium, and just think records are really cool, and you just like the whole thing, this could become one of your prized possessions, everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the winner of this year's Golden Gear Award is RPM Turntable Baseball. Now, let me tell you why. First of all, you have, look what they did with the barcode. Look at that. They turned the barcode into a record. All right? That's just the start. Gets better. Now, the package is like a match cover or something. It lifts off like this. You flip it up, and the first thing you see is a scorecard. They give you a scorecard so you can actually play 8 games of baseball. You can play 8 full 9-inning games of baseball on your turntable. Now, how is that possible? Oh, let's show you the record. Let's show you the record. Look, it's got a baseball here, and on the back it looks like a menu. I'll explain that in a bit. And it's blue vinyl. So, the way this works, and you need the back. That's very important. Now, what it says right here is, so you take some coins. Pennies not included, it says. You need some pennies. And see, this is what another awesome thing about it. Look at this. You got a baseball hat on Abraham Lincoln's head, you know, on a penny. So, the way this works is So normal record, you have one groove that starts on the outside and it just spirals in, right? Well, the thing is, let's say you happen to work at a record pressing plant and you know how all this stuff works, and that's the secret to why this is so awesome. You can make that one groove, instead of, usually they're really close up together, you spread it out a little bit. Leave room. You cut that. Then you start at another spot on the edge and you cut another one that fits in there. And then you do that again. And then you do it again. And I think they did it again. I don't know how, it just shows mastery. Whoever the cutting engineer on this is clearly a master of her or his trade. Just props to you, whoever you are, because wow. So that's what they did, right? And then you put the needle down. You don't know which of those 5 things you're going to get. And it's like a baseball game. So you're up. It says, hey, the batter's up. And, there's one might be a home run. Another time you might get a single. There's like a ground out. And you don't know what you're going to get. You put, it looks like I'm throwing the needle down. That's not what you do. Of course, you're going to use your little cue lever or your, my Thorns, it's the one that goes sideways, but you know what I'm talking about. You put it down gently. And that's how the football one was last year. But this is what is even better. So you have this whole thing. You can play outs and runs and all that stuff. But now in the middle of the record, they have this other area where there's a little bit of a blank space, and then it starts again. So you got the grooves, sort of like the first, there's a chunk right here. That's this piece here. You can't see it, sorry. Out to about there. That's just like batter up. Now if you go in further around here, that's actually if you want to try to steal after you get somebody on base, you can put it there. So they had, it's just amazing what they did. And then the backside is the concession stand challenge. And this way, you place your bets, not bets, because that's, on hot dog or nachos, soft pretzel, salted nuts, or falafel, and then you put the needle down, sorry, with your QR meters, gently do it down. You put the thing down, and then, one of those, you'll see who wins these are the mascots. A giant hot dog running around racing the falafel and the bag of salted nuts and the whole thing. And come on, if you love records, don't you have to have this? Don't you have to have this in your collection? All right, let's get back to the alphabetical stuff for a little while. We have a really nice, heavy Electric Wizard piece. This is, nice gatefold double record, and they got the foil stamp in there, clear vinyl. I think there's a poster in there as well. This is pretty weird stuff here. The band is called ESG, and yeah, no kidding, huh? And this is like just some pretty weird kind of like early 80s, sort of when like looping and dance and records and stuff and all kind of coming together. Maybe you think of it as hip-hop-ish, or sort of. I don't know. It's pretty weird. That could be a good Frank piece for me, because I thought it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. It wasn't not my usual thing. Font spots here. Let me show you the back. And this one's cool. Let me show you something neat about this. This one, what they did is they're giving you the actual with the CD, not even the MP3. They're just going full out here. And they're giving you a CD of the album and a nice booklet. I guess that's probably the booklet that would appear in the CD if you got it in a jewel box or a digipack. That's pretty cool. Kenny Rogers here. No, that's actually Liam Finn. And this is pretty cool because this is a whole thing of demos. A whole bunch of demos. And is there like a... No, I guess they're all demos. 7 demos from his album The Nihilist. So that's great. Always like it when people take the opportunity to let some stuff out that wouldn't otherwise come out at all. We got Garbage. Here we go. They're always very popular on Record Store Day. Here's the back. I love what they did with the G on that one. Speaking of G, Here we have Jerry Garcia. 7,000 of these, translucent green vinyl. No need to freak out with that many coming out there. So this is a pretty cool story. So Giant Sand, right? Now, Friday night when I was at the one of the Bull Mooses borrowing some of these records, you can see the ones with the price stickers. Somebody came up to me and was like, you know, he had like a Cure CD and maybe a Smith CD, and he was clearly like going through that sort of 80s thing, and that particular flavor of the 80s he was interested in. He was asking me for some more recommendations. Oh, he had like a Susie and the Banshees thing, and I forget what else he had, and I wish I had thought about Giant Sand, because I had just listened to this, because this would be like, if you like that stuff and don't know Giant Sand, they're a band from they're like Arizona, and this is a really cool record. So this is from that time period. So it's got that certain guitar sound and that certain sort of depressed kind of thing. But one thing that was probably particularly depressing is when they moved to L.A., the car was broken into, or the van was, and some of the tapes, some of the mix downs for this album were stolen. So what was issued then was not really what the band originally wanted. Then just like recently, like last year or this year, last year or something, somebody associated with it found cassettes of those original mixes in some box of stuff. So now what Fire Recordings has done is now they're finally issuing it what the band heard at the time. And of course you get it's sort of colored by the fact that they're taking it off of a cassette. So it's got, but if you think about how a lot of us first heard that music, it was off of cassettes anyway. So I think that sort of fits. It's got that sort of sound. And what's neat is you also have a full record. This is a 2-record set. There's the original record, the way it was intended to be, and then the second record has a bunch of radio sessions and some live stuff. So you can go a lot deeper into it if you want. And there's also a download code that I think you can get even more bonus tracks via the download code. And let me just show you. You have, it's just a really nice. You get the whole story of what happened. You get some good pictures. It's a very nice package, very well done. And this is something a lot of Fire Recordings releases. I'll show you those as we go. A lot of their releases this year are just like this, where you get the download code brings you even more material. So thumbs up from you guys. Okay, Government Mule, Stone Side of the Mule, Volume 2, more Rolling Stones covers. Here's the back. They were just up in Maine last month. Maybe they're still touring, I don't know. They would be good live. Speaking of covers, Group Love, Under the Covers. This is a EP, 3 covers. Cage the Elephant, kind of an odd man out, because the other 2 are The Who and the Beach Boys. So interesting thing there. Gwar! Here we go. Always fun. Always a fun time. Here's the back. This is a gatefold cover, and I know when you open it up, you'll get a nice little surprise. You will. So it'll make you happy if you are a fan of Gwar. Now, the Happy Mondays, they were part of, when music was changing in the early 90s. This album was a big deal. You recognize it. So this would be one if you like the non-Limp Bizkit-y type of alternative from the 80s. This would be a good one for you. 90s. This would be a good one for you to pick up. Let me show you. Yellow vinyl, naturally. The label looks good. It matches the cover. The label on the record is good. And you also get, there's like a poster. No! Oh, no, it's not a poster. Look. Oh, very good. So now you get it's another sleeve, but they give you this paper one to reduce the chance of it being, this getting damaged in shipping. Very, very nice. That's Parlophone also, I think. They really, well, it was Electra record. That's Rhino for you. Thank you very much, Rhino. John Hopkins, I Remember. Here we are. Here we are. Just nice and black. Here we go. White vinyl, though, in the black sleeve. And here we are. Joan Jett. Joan Jett, another reissue. These always, these always sell really well. A lot of people, and that comes with a CD as well, but I think you probably just could have read that. Continuing with the alphabetical order, we got oh man, I don't know how to pronounce this. Kruangbin? Kruangbin? I'm sorry. I don't know everything. History of Flight is it. This is cover, another cover thing, but this is Ennio, they're covering Ennio Morricone, right, soundtrack guy, Serge Gainsbourg, Yellow Magic Orchestra, and somebody that I'm not familiar with, Twenjai Boon Praraksa. And this is a nice way. They have the hand, sort of handwritten in. They're writing in the numbering there. 4 of our favorite artists, it says. That's what they listen to on their long drives. Cool. Now, oh yeah, Melanie Martinez. Now, this is a really beautiful thing. And this is an EP, so it's 4 songs. But I want to show you just how cool it looks. Look at this really cool record. Look at that. You see how they did that? And they got the label to almost match up on that side and to kind of reverse. Isn't that cool? Here's on the back, kind of not matching up, but I just think that's a really pretty looking record. And believe it or not, that sort of baby blue and pink, kind of, if you don't know what she sounds like, she kind of sounds like that. It's kind of a pastel-y sort of music that'll make you happy. Here we have a new album, the band's Noveler. It's called Fantastic Planet, and I think this is a pretty nice cover. The back is just plain green, and the record is a nice deep green. And this is really one of those things. I think it's really just one person using the name. I think it's a one woman band, One Otrix. Here we are, and this is cool. Check this out. So all these X's and lines. These are all, the cover's embossed, so they all kind of fade down into it, except for this one here. You see the blue one? Well, check it out. You see, it's actually die cut all the way through, and it's black vinyl, but that's this nice deep blue. And if you listen to this, this is one of those things that will make you wonder if maybe something's, it's like so noisy, you know, distorted guitars processed by other electronics and stuff. You might think that like something's wrong with your turntable, but no, I think it's just pretty extreme stuff. The pop group, we have the pop group. There's the back, the EP. Pullman has two records for us. We've got this one here, and then we also have Turnstiles and Junk Piles. Pulp. I'm only going to show you it just because it's the only one. Oh yeah, nice. You know, the download card is actually a cool little postcard that matches the art on the cover, and you know, they did a little extra there. It is the only Pulp album that's going to be even somewhat easy to find in the U.S. There are 3 or 4 other albums by Pulp that are really more UK. A few copies are going to make it their way over here, but they'll be tough to find. So if you find them, that's great. But really, this is more. I'm mentioning it more for the UK folks who will have an easier time getting it. But that's how it goes. Ride. This should be no trouble to find. Nice gatefold. It's the best of. This has been out for a while already on CD. So one thing that makes a good Frank piece is world music. So let's take a look at some of those with the world music titles we have for this record store today. Now you might think you know what Kenyan music sounds like, but here's something you could check out: the West Bridge Band. And what makes this different from a lot of the other Kenyan stuff you've got to heard is, of course, much more diverse country than we might realize over here. Also, but you can see this 9-stringed instrument. The leader of this band invented that, so they're using a different kind of instrument, and they're also, I think, from a different tribe than a lot of the other stuff that maybe we've heard. This makes it great. There's also this part on the back is really interesting read as well. Cool thing to check out. From relatedly, we also have 40 Martyrs, which is Armenian chanting from Aleppo. And what's interesting about this is, so it's like, what I've heard off of this is like a cappella chanting, so it's very beautiful and meditative, but it's a language that's kind of disappearing. So this is really well recorded. It actually sounds really good. You know how some world music stuff, especially some of the older things, is kind of like field recordings that don't sound. This sounds beautiful. Definitely something you should consider. This is not a okay. Other stuff we got. You know, the Rough Guide series, right? We always have like 4 or 5 of them. African Rare Groove. These are always really cool. Like any of their titles, anytime, they're really, I think they're really great. And here's like a Bollywood disco thing. So, you know, we think we know what Bollywood sounds like, but you know, see the disco version of it. And they have several other record store titles this year. Those are always really good. And for those who aren't familiar with that series, it's a little more, well, it's just really good and authentic sounding to me. Yeah, so also Thai pop music from several decades worth of stuff. This would be, you know, if we have some of these left, I could see buying that myself. I'm always curious about 60s pop from other cultures. What I like about that is hearing sort of American and British ideas that go out and then get mixed in and reinterpreted by another culture, and then we get to hear them come back. You know, just love that. Okay, guitar, Safari, another, you can tell what this is all about. Again, Calypso and Beat from Sierra Leone, Congolese Rumba, Mambo Cha, Surfing in Madagascar, Nigerian Twist and Roll, Cameroon Merengue. So, it's a trip around at, so, stuff of the 50s and 60s, so you know this is going to be really fun. Moving on from the world music, there's a few other things that I just don't know where to put. So Grateful Dead kind of turned into children's type lullaby, tinkly stuff. The Rockabye Baby series, always a good thing on Record Store Day. People who like them, kind of like Frank Zappa, The Residents, sort of their own genre. Great Frank piece, because if you haven't heard The Residents, you've never heard anything like this before. That's all I have to say about that. This is the record I was looking for before. Space, so it's dub music with a space age theme, and just for the dub version of the Doctor Who theme, I think this is a must-have for some people. Very cool. It's an on-you journey through sound. Sorry, an on-you journey through time and space. Here's the back if you just want to double check the track listing there. And a classical piece, really, you know, minimalist, Steve Reich. Music for 18 musicians. And so let's look at some of the classic punk, 70s and 80s punk rock. I'm going to start with a 7-inch. There's a double A-side 7-inch with Adamant, from Adamant. Two songs from Kings of the Wild Frontier. It's that song. And another one. Cool. The Saints. Now, they are an Australian punk band, and they got their first album out actually between the first Ramones album and before the Sex Pistols and the Clash. So they kind of have that in punk rock history as being the first non-US punk rock band to release an album. And it's really good. Maybe you haven't heard of them, but it's really good 70s punk rock. So if you like that kind of stuff, go for it. This one, there's actually like horns on one of these tracks, which is a little disorienting, but it kind of works. Like today, it kind of works. You can see what they were trying to do. We have a Replacements, the Alex Chilton EP, and what's cool is I like this little thing on the back, like they're kind of advertising, Pleased to Meet Me. That's a fun one to have. Is a live Stooges album, and you know, it's got Funhouse and stuff that you gotta have on there, some things like that. But what I think is neat is there's this cool poster, so it folds out. There's an essay by Lenny Kaye on it, and then you get this nice. It's the same picture as the cover actually, but it's just blown up. You know, you could maybe, you know, even mount that. Have a poster company flatten this and mount it on foam core or something. Might look really nice in your listening room. There's a Lemonheads. The 4 songs recorded at the BBC, and this one's on white vinyl. I don't know if the other ones are maybe on other colors. I'm not sure. The 101ers. This was Joe Strummer's band before the Clash. And you know, red vinyl. And if you have any doubt that you know, he was an awesome singer, you can hear it here. You get a good separate sheet with notes in there. And there's some the studio stuff they did and also live things. But wow, what a great singer! Even before the Clash, he was a great singer. The Violent Femmes recorded 4 songs on New Year's Eve, this last New Year's Eve, and this new stuff you've never heard before. Something to check out. The box set by Leatherface. And another very cool thing, and this is by Fire Recordings. Like I showed you before with the Jad Fair one. You know, there's this outer slip sleeve thing that fits around it, postcard in there, and then you know, it holds the 3 albums really nicely. And if you're, you know, they're like they kind of sound to me like. You know, like Social Distortion were kids and they heard that sound and said, "Oh, we could, yeah, that's how things ought to be. That's what music ought to be like." I don't have to show you, but there's actually a lot more classic punk. There's some, there's a MDC 7-inch that we got, Dead Milkman. I think I mentioned that before. DRI and the Buzzcocks. So lots of stuff to check out if you have an expansive idea of what punk rock could be from the early days. There's a nice, this is very cool, it's called Inspired by Shirley. And Shirley is Shirley Collins, who was a British folk singer who kind of predates like Sandy Denny, Fairport Convention, that kind of stuff, a Pentangle. Like if you like those people, this is just a few years earlier, clearly influential on that. And she and her sister Dolly was on some of her stuff, and just a great singer, really interesting stuff, kind of set the stage for the British folk rock boom. And this is a beautiful triple vinyl set. You can see I love the art direction on this. And this is a bunch of people covering songs that are associated with her. And it's black vinyl in like anti-static sleeves, but you have that same nice artwork like we have on the other thing. And some of the people who are on here. So there's Ulver, Graham Coxon, Lee Ronaldo, interestingly enough, Johnny Flynn, some of the names I'm recognizing on here. Yeah, it's neat stuff. Findlay Brown, good stuff to check out. That's obviously not punk rock. This is just kind of like a miscellaneous pile of 60s-ish stuff is what I got right now. Robert Plant, there's a live 10-inch. One of the songs is a Zepp cover. This is really great. So, you know, if you're into like 60s soul, I'm sure that this album is already in your collection. Or if it's not, this is a good chance to get it in there, because this Otis Blue is a beautiful album. And what you need to know about the Record Store Day edition is that one record is mono, one record is stereo. They're both on black vinyl, but you should have something blue, I guess, if it's called Otis Blue. So what they did is they included the 7-inch. The 7-inch that comes with it is, here's your blue vinyl, and the B-side of the 7-inch is a non-album track. So I think that's the perfect way to present this. You should get it. Another record that I think is presented in its perfectly is this Dylan piece, The Basement Tape. And there's actually like 2 different versions. One of them, well, I'll explain that in a second. There's 2 different versions, and it's presented, it looks a lot like a bootleg, right? With this thing stamped on here, kind of messily stamped on, and this thing just regular piece of paper just folded around it like a bootleg. Now, when we know that this material, so this is basement tape stuff, but this is the stuff this is like what actually spawned all those bootlegs, really spawned rock bootlegs. And I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be talking about bootlegs, I don't know, but so this is not the same as the Basement Tapes album that came out in 1975, you know, that double album. This is the 14 songs that were on the, so those were really like publishing demos. First of all, it was just screwing around, just getting him back on his feet, the band learning how to do stuff, but they turned into publishing demos for other people to cover. Like I mentioned Fairport Convention a few minutes ago, like they did a cover of $1 Million Bash. So this is the version of Dylan with the group of musicians who came to be called the band, backing him up. So it's the 14 songs that were on that publishing demo that was circulated. Depending on which version you buy, you either get, like I have here, this is the one with Garth Hudson, the organist. This is his signature stamped. I believe there are some that cost more that have his actual real signature. Make sure there's, you know, read the sticker or whatever on it. You also get a facsimile of a Rolling Stone article about him, and this is what the sleeve looks like. This is what the label looks like. So it's a really nice thing for Dylan fans, and people were wondering if this was authorized. I did check. I mean, I checked with Legacy, and it is legit. Legacy approved this. Might want to mention that there's also a Bob Dylan 7-inch, which is 2 songs off his last album, and another like pretty cool archival thing for Beach Boys and Brian Wilson fans. I would say this is probably essential. It's called Sessions 64. Sessions 64 is what this is called, and it's a nice gold, kind of clear gold 10-inch. And these are sessions. Brian wrote the songs. He produced most of them, except for one that Gary Usher, who Beach Boys fans would know his name anyway, produced. And it's actually really cool. So, like, just to give an example, there's the song He's a Doll by the Honeys, and you have the mono master and then an unreleased stereo mix and stereo backing track. So most of what's on here, there's a couple things that were released on 45 way back in the day, but a lot of this stuff is totally unreleased. And I don't know how they got this to happen, but it's awesome. Thank you. And the if you listen to the backing tracks in particular, they're really interesting for fans of Brian Wilson, because you can hear how you get it without the vocals on them. You get a sense of how he kind of layered things and had instruments coming in and out. That's especially true of the last song on side A, where like all of a sudden, I forget, like for the bridge, something else came in that really surprised me, and it's really, really very cool. So you may remember this. So let's talk about for a second how there's this concept we have called the Record Store Day first release. When you look at the list on the Record Store Day website, the bottom is things as first release, and these are things that are coming out first for Record Store Day, but then will be given wide release later. And one example of something that, you know, so you can be like, yeah, Brian Wilson backing tracks and like rare studio stuff like that. That kind of fits with the Record Store Day thing. But the what I'm about to show you is the kind of thing that you really can't hold back, make it just for Record Store Day. It does have to be sort of like, you know, Bruce Springsteen's first albums, you know, the first 6 or 7 of them came out in a box set last fall. Now they've broken them up, and they'll be available separately for the first time on Record Store Day. It's all of them. Now I'm holding up Nebraska because I think this makes a good Frank piece. You know, those of you who, you know, there's like a swagger to Bruce's stuff that I know that some of the more some people can't quite embrace, and so I want to point this out as like, if you think you don't like Bruce, I mean, if you love Bruce, you know, you're all set, and any of those things would be awesome, and yes, you have to have them. But this Nebraska, like, let's say you're an alt rock person, and this is like an essential alt rock album. Maybe, you know, no maybe about it. If you like Uncle Tupelo or Wilco or Lucinda Williams or the Jayhawks or any of that stuff, Ryan Adams, kind of where he came from, you should check this out. If you like bedroom recordings, you know, lo-fi, because that's what this is. That's what this is. That was Bruce in his 4-track, and then he just decided to release them the way he wrote the demos. That's just demo stuff. That's really cool. Okay, so the Dixie Cups, you know the song. Go into the chapel, and we've got the album Chapel of Love. And one of the things that I kind of admire about the way that Perez Sarabande does things is, you know, they try to keep it real, and you can see this right here. This, like, from a, just looks sort of like the way that they put that, like you know, like, that's kind of bad design. It's like they just slapped that on. Somebody's like, oh, you got to put the logo on there somewhere, you know, and like, yeah, but okay, we'll just put it right here. So I gotta hand it to, you know, somebody might have tried to clear that up, or, you know, cover that up and put it somewhere else or something, make it look better. But no, Perez just goes with, like, doing it the way it was done, and you know, I think that's a good idea. There we go. They also have, you know, Everly Brothers, 15 hits, 15 Everly hits actually, and they left again. You know, they're leaving that Cadence logo, which does look kind of like it's just slapped right in there, stuck right in there. And again, they did in the back. You know, they even have the old Cadence Records address on here, so you know they're keeping it the way it was. So let's go back to the alphabetical section for a while. We'll finish up the alphabet, and then we'll wrap up the video with the remaining 7 inches, and I think that's all there is. All right. People were wondering what the Chris Robinson Brotherhood record sorting piece was going to turn out to be. Well, we can now tell you. It's Betty's Blends Volume 2 CD with something else that looks to me like a tote bag, and if you look right there, you can see that the artwork is either done by R. Crumb or somebody who's totally ripping off R. Crumb. So that's a pretty cool thing. You don't find that otherwise. Kenny Wayne Shepherd, we have a live 5-song EP. You can get it on CD, which is here, or it's also going to be available on 12-inch. Stone Sour has a covers album. They cover Kiss, Metallica, Priest, Sabbath, and Alice in Chains. There's like a piece of paper with some liner notes on it, but I want to show you the record. This is actually kind of bluish gray. Now, it's pretty much a straight up gray. I think it looks kind of bluish here, but it's just gray. That'll be fun. That'll be fun for people. Surf City, Jekyll Island. You can hear the download card banging around. There's that. There's the back. And here, I think you got a nice inner sleeve there. Black vinyl. Swans. This is Swans 12. That just says that little white spot is actually the name of the band. And I can't even read what it says on the back because the contrast is so bad. It is so small. Temples. It's a live EP. Mesmerize is the title of it. 24 Gone. This feels heavy. This feels heavy, so it must be, it feels like it might be 180 gram vinyl just based on the thickness of it, or there's something stuck in. Oh, it's a gatefold. That's why it's so thick. So it's regular weight vinyl, gatefold. Look forward to that. Here's the gatefold I can show you though. So in 2008, this was actually originally released in 2008. The Paper Hats is what the band was being called. Now you're gonna find it under the T section for William Tyler, because that's his real name. And there it is. And if you look at the inside, Deseret is the name of the album, and you see that you got all this text right on this side that'll explain to you why he called it that and sort of the history of this. This was would be pretty hard to find in original pressing, so you know it's one of those nice things for Record Store Day when you get something that you couldn't find. Thank you, Merge, for that. Thank you, Throat Coat, for this. U2. All right, Songs of Innocence. Now this is so why, you know, who cares, right? Because this came out before. Well, I'll tell you why you care. Because of side D. There's a whole bunch of acoustic tracks on here. You got 6 acoustic tracks on side D. That's why you care. Also because it's U2 and you just need it. Warzone. You know, Victory always has a whole bunch of things on colored vinyl for us. Warzone is the one I'm going to show, but they also have The Comeback Kid, Islander, and Path of Resistance. have released albums, or Victory's reissuing their stuff. You have a little 10-inch from Yellow Card with unreleased stuff. Always got to have it. Young the Giant, and this is a nice one. This is cool, called Mirror Ball, and you can see it's sort of like a distorted mirror ball, but it's very hang on. Maybe this is a better way to look at it. Here you go. I took the plastic off, so now all the shininess you're getting is the actual thing. It's like there's a. It feels like it's a piece of metal. So there's like foil, and then they put the black. So the cover, I think, is a layer of foil. Like layer paperboard, then foil, and then this black stuff is die cut and stuck over it. Very cool. And then the white Young the Giant title is on the top. So pretty nifty thing here. Black vinyl, or maybe white vinyl. I'm trying to remember which it was. Black vinyl, but I mean the cover is so cool that's that. All right, 7 inches. Let's do the 7 inches now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I'm going to kind of front load the colored vinyl and the picture discs, and then we're going to just run through this box of 7 inches. Sorry. So the first one, I know a certain Bowie collector for me from Chicago told me that she got something cool. So this kind of made me think of her. This is a Bowie picture disc, probably something that at least one person in Chicago will want to buy. Certain documentary filmmaker who is becoming an expert on magnets, I believe, doing the research now. This, if you are of a certain age, you should be able to identify this without any help from any labels or me. I will give you 2 more seconds to remember. What is it? Yes, well, these are stills from the video for the song Take On Me by Aha, which had this falsetto thing in it. So yeah, Aha picture disc, about as perfect as anything as you could get. It was kind of a weird video if I remember correctly. So I like this. This is probably my favorite picture disc of the year. I don't know, just because that it's clear with that Devil Wears Prada thing. I just think that's awesome. Devil Wears Prada is the band. This is another great picture disc though. Hani El Khatib, and it's like a pie, and there they ate it all. Cleaned the whole thing up. Wouldn't it be awesome if it was like a Warrant cover? But it's not. Devil's Pie is the track. People always dig Slayer, so Slayer's always big on Record Store Day. There we go, with a really nice looking picture disc. This is kind of hard to see because it's so dark and evil looking. So make sure you check out that front side. Very cool. I think this one's really pretty. It's split 7 inches by Session and Lost Midas. And I'm going to show you the back side just because it's really pretty. And something that's kind of neat about this actually is they exchanged tracks and each remixed and redid the other person's track. So it's not just random smashed together 2 different things. They're actually collaborating on each other's things. Pretty cool. Now let's look at some of the ones from Rhino's Side by Side series. And for those of you who may not remember, that's when they take the A side is the original recording, the B side is a cover, all from within the Warner Music Group family. So we got, first one is Graham Parsons and the Lemonheads. This track is Brass Buttons. As you see, really nice kind of bubblegum pink. And one of the things I always like about this is you have, so like Graham Parsons was on Reprise. That's what the Reprise label looked like when he was on there, right? And then by the time the Lemonheads came around, Atlantic was using that style label, which is always cool. I'm gonna so speaking of Bowie, here's Tom Verlaine song that Bowie covered, and I like this because Bowie was on would have been on RCA then, so you can see they kind of have the like RCA style. Look, it's reminiscent of it, but obviously they can't use the RCA logo. And here's the electro one. I think that's just awesome. Dionne Warwick song covered by the Stranglers, and I really like how this came out. Isn't that great? I love that, the streaks on the blue. That's really pretty. But my favorite of the colored vinyl issues this year is this one here. It's and it's also, the music is awesome. It's you know the song "The Message," the Grandmaster Flash song, and it's covered by Stiff Little Fingers. But I just love. There's the Stiff Little Fingers. I just love. And here's your. And I love the. I don't know. It reminds you of peacock feathers somehow. And the Stiff Little Fingers version of it is like, if you haven't heard it, it's like it make you think of like Rage Against the Machine or something. It's a really great live version with a ton of energy. It's really cool because it's like they really bring out the riff in it. Okay, let's go through the rest of the 7 inches, shall we? I just need to clean up here. All right, this could be it. So 311. There are 2 unreleased versions of Grifter and Who's Got the Herb, and this is to remind you that there's a 311 box set on the way. I'd say you can't really talk about a list of 7 inches without bringing up Ryan Adams, who's I think the king of 7 inches right now. So Come Pick Me Up, an alternate take of Come Pick Me Up is the song, or is this month's thing. For those of you who like to collect records who don't already know, he releases a 7-inch every month, and it's great. It's great. Collectors dig it. Ad-libs. The ad-libs. Looks nice. I like that. I like the label there. So we have Against Me with 2 different versions of one of their big songs off the last album. There's a live version, and the other one is the extra dysphoric version, and you'll have to buy it and figure out what's so extra dysphoric about it. ASAP Rocky, and here's 2 tracks from his upcoming album. Those are both available digitally right now if you can't wait. And however, Atreyu though, here we go. 2 brand new songs. This is how we like to do it. 2 brand new songs for Record Store Day that are not otherwise available. That is what I think makes a Record Store Day 7-inch. In fact, a lot of the ones that I've chosen to go through are ones that are a little more like that. For example, Bonnie Prince Billy, and I have trouble pronouncing his name because he's Dutch. Hang on. Broder Deelman. And what's cool about this is that, you know, they cover each other. First of all, I really like that. You know, it's a nice sleeve, and it's a little bit bigger. They cover each other, but the thing is, they also sing in each other's language, and you've got the translations are right in here in the thing. We have unreleased Alex Chilton songs. Would you have guessed that you would get something like that now? No, from 1975, unreleased Alex Chilton songs. A couple D'Angelo songs that are on the album. Deep Purple, big surprise here. So Black Knight, that's the single version that was originally released with this this was like a picture sleeve. Oh, check it out, blue vinyl. But the B-side, Speed King, that's a different mix. That's from a Dutch single, so the piano's more prevalent in it, and it was like on a box set or something. But it's kind of a cool way to mix that up, I think. Dwarves, we got a new song from the Dwarves, and the back is a little bit. I'm not going to show it to you here. I mentioned this before. Dylan songs. These are on the album. Get it if you need it. This would be a good Frank piece if you want to kind of have your mind expanded a little bit. Fanfare, Chio Carlia, and for those of you, in case you're not familiar with them, they are, I forget what country they're from, but they're like Eastern European wedding band, basically, but they play like a bazillion miles an hour. You know, like, it's absolutely crazy with like so much energy. It's amazing, and this is some kind of combination thing that they're doing with a Mexican group called G-Flux. So I don't even know what the heck it is, but I know it's like if you were a brass player and wanted your mind blown Check it out. Check it out. Might be hard. Might not a lot of those kicking around, but that's gonna be like, I think that's gonna be awesome. The Go Team. This is clear yellow, a lighter yellow than most of the other more golden ones. We got Dave House again. All new stuff. 2 new songs, real new songs, and 2 demos. 4 tracks on that. Make it an EP. Here's a nice Robin Hitchcock. You want to like the cover, and the back's neat. You know, it reminds me of like a 60s 45. And in this moment, this is like a remix thing, and pink vinyl. Jay Dilla, you saw the other shaped 7-inch, 10-inch, whichever it is. Here's another regular 7-inch of his. That's never been on vinyl before. Jib Kidder. This is a 4-track EP, but 3 of these are new songs. Now we've got 3 Kinks 45s. You know, there's a big Kinks reissue campaign that's been going on. Excuse me. Lydia Loveless. This is says it's pressed on royal purple vinyl, but this isn't. I don't want to open this up because that sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna butcher this band's name, Mock Tverskin. I know they're from the Boston label Run for Cover, and you know, pretty striking artwork there. This is brand new stuff, exclusive for Record Store Day. New stuff that you can't buy elsewhere, and also the same label is issuing double 12-inch by Kind of Like Spitting. You've got a Johnny Marr covers 7-inch. Well, I guess it covers maybe. I mean, the first side is so you got a live version of him doing live Depeche Mode song, and then does it count if he's covering the Smiths? Please, please, please let me get what I want. I mean, is it a cover when? I don't know. Anyway, it's a live version of that by him, so that's a pretty great thing. Pianos, Become the Teeth. 2 unreleased songs, new material. And I like this a lot. We're going to spend a little bit of time with it. It's a split 5-inch lathe cut record by Pujol and Meth Dad. And if you look at it, check that out. It's like supposed to look like a flyer, and look at the date. You know, it's like they're pretending that they're doing a gig on Record Store Day in Nashville. That's really creative. I think that's cool. We also have Garfunkel and Oates. Rubiots, Starfucker. Let's go back to that. So it's actually like a John Oates thing, right? And then Simon and Garfunkel, songs from different albums. Mono mixes though, so I don't think those are currently available unless it's maybe as like a bonus track or something. We've got a Supergrass on like grass, green, dark grass, like 7-inch. Twin Peaks. There we are, looking good. Mike Watt with stuff that, you know, will be whatever it is. It's gonna, you don't quite know what you're gonna get with him, but it's, you know, it's gonna be interesting and good. Love that guy. Love that guy. And I'm gonna end the 7 inches and the whole video with the Mystery side by side. Now you see it's all black. So this is a side by side record where it's 2 artists, the original artist and somebody else covering them, playing the same song. And the only clue that you have until this goes on your turntable, well, I mean, it's printed on the record, is the fact you can look at this. And those 2 surfboards are a very enigmatic clue as to what might be on here. And I'm sure you're thinking surfboards, so Beach Boys? Huh. Were they ever part of the, like, Rhino, the, you know, Warner Music Group Beach Boys? You know, like, I can't remember what label released Kokomo, but I don't know, that might have been Capitol. You know, it's the kind of thing where you got to sort of think about that. Okay, so if it wasn't that, something else with surfboards, maybe like an East Coast thing. you know, like I'm trying to remember what was the name of the band that did that album, My Beach. They had a song, what, I Want to Be Your Lifeguard, you know, that would be kind of a fun one, but I don't remember, that might have been an independent label, I don't know. Well, I think that's going to wrap up the video, and thanks for watching. I'm sorry that I was so gravelly voiced, I'm just sick. So we'll see you this weekend. Hopefully you have a good time wherever you are. Make sure to have a good time in line. If you get to the line early, remember that everybody there is a record collector too, and you know, you're part of this sisterhood and brotherhood of awesomeness. And enjoy being with them. Enjoy being at the store. Have a good time. Like I said, make sure to check your store's website or whatever to get their opening hours and their any special events they're doing. And think about what your frank piece ought to be, or just get moved when you get to the store. And finally, make sure you own a record brush and clean your records every time you listen to them. So long.